Representative Byrne, you're the only labor and employment lawyer in the entire Congress. So you know the issues, you know the concerns, you're a thought leader. It's a delight to have you with us. What role do you think the federal government should play with respect to the transformation of the workplace as we get ready for all of these AI and robotic initiatives that are taking place?
Well, there are two roles I see the federal government playing. One is I think we need to take a complete look at all of our labor laws to see if those laws still make sense in the workforce of the 21st century, as we know it will evolve over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Secondly, we've got to sit down and think long and hard about a completely different approach to workforce education. As you know, we've got 46 programs, I think, across 8 departments and agencies at the federal level that do workforce development. That obviously makes no sense. We're not only not putting enough resources into the classrooms where it needs to be, we're not putting it into classrooms in a way that makes sense. So I think we need to have a full discussion about how should our labor laws be changed to reflect the realities of this evolving workforce, evolving workplace, and then what do we need to provide in terms of education to young people and not so young people to enable them to take advantage of what's going to happen, which is AI and machine learning is going to destroy this jobs over here. It's going to create these jobs over here. The difference is the education and skill required for these jobs is so much greater than these jobs. And I think it's a national priority. I think the federal government needs to be out in front on it.
You know and understand workforce challenges. For example, I know in Alabama, at the governor's request, you played a major role in remaking the state's educational system to better align with the workplace. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was one of the more interesting parts of my career. I was a state senator, part-time position, practicing law full-time as a labor and employment attorney. We had this huge blow-up in our two-year college system, major corruption scandal, 2 grand juries, Pulitzer Prize was won by the Birmingham News reporting on it. He says, I need for you to leave your law practice, leave your state senate seat, and take over the most corrupt part of state government, the two-year college system. And I said, why in the world would I do that? And he said, because we've got to clean it up, number one. But number two, we're attracting all these new companies to Alabama, and we have to provide the trained workforce for them. That's the key ingredient. And I have to have this system functioning at its highest level. So when we came into that system, I not only was dealing with this corruption situation over here, but quite frankly, we used that in order to drive reforms through on the actual operational side, redesigned the way it worked, and got them focused on the things that matter. So we divided the state up into regions, and we went to the University of Alabama and got their Center for Business and Economic Research to give us actual data, and then spent time with employers to say, what do you need? And in each region, we could tell you, what are the top 10 skill areas that we need? And so we aligned all of our programs, both at the two-year colleges and at the high schools, and with the what we call the WIOA programs, what the state's doing outside of all that, to deliver those skills. And by doing that, we not only were getting the workforce that the employers needed, but people needed jobs, and we were giving them the education skills that they needed to get the jobs. It was a twofer. It was a great win-win. And the system still is doing that. They're doing it, frankly, even better today than they were when I was there. But that just shows that once you get them going in the right direction, they can deliver the workforce for tomorrow. And I'm not just talking about any type of jobs. We're talking about jobs for rockets and missiles in Huntsville, for a new generation of warships in Mobile, for the highest end automobiles for Mercedes, et cetera, around the state. So I'm real proud of what they've done. And it just goes to show if we can do it, we can do it all over America.
We met this morning with Representatives Kilmer and Stevens with the New Dems Coalition to discuss the future of work. Representative Kilmer has introduced a lifelong learning bill. What is your initial reaction to that type of legislation and how it would work?
Well, I think we're all going to have to be a part of lifelong learning. I think that's where we are today. What I knew when I came out of law school in 1980 and the way people are practicing law and doing legal research now are completely different. And that's true for every industry, every role in every industry. We're all going to be lifelong learners, so I'm glad they're doing it. Here's the key to that in all of these federal initiatives we're talking about now. They have to be bipartisan. I was talking to the chairman of our committee yesterday, Bobby Scott, who's a Democrat, but he and I are friends, and we try to work together. And I said, Mr. Chairman, you know, we're not going to pass any of these things, whether it's your side or our side or anybody's side, unless we work together. So there's a great instance where you've got some Democrats working on something that I think Republicans could come together with them on, and we could actually move things forward for the American people.
You know, it's great that you mentioned the bipartisanship because both of the representatives this morning said the same thing, and you do have a unique relationship with now Chairman Scott, and it's terrific that you can work together. But what do you see as the next steps in the process, and how can we help you? How can we help everyone here accomplish those goals? Because it's not about Republicans or Democrats or independents, it's about Americans.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Well, the next steps are we need to get into a room and we need to leave all the sort of acting out outside the room. We need people like you in the room with us, people that are in the real world. We need to sit around and talk about what the reality is that we're facing. If we wait, it's too late. We'll have people dislocated. We won't be able to get them retrained in time. So now's the time for us to come together. Talk about what the workforce and the workplace of the evolving 21st century is going to be and how we can make our laws match up with them better. Talk about how we can go on almost like a Marshall Plan to get ourselves ready for what's getting ready to happen with both AI and machine learning, and then come together and pass those as a bipartisan effort. So we need you and your expertise in the room, but we also need for you to be advocates for us to get away from the partisanship on so many of these issues and work together. I think outside push on us is going to be necessary for us to do exactly what has to be done.
Well, you know I'm a pusher.
That's good.
You talk about the Marshall Plan. I talk about this being our Sputnik moment.
Yeah.
And we've also worked hard at trying to get this out of the conceptual and put a real world face on it. And that's why we formed the Emma Coalition.
Yeah.
Because if we can't get around trying to help a 7-year-old girl who stands for all the children of the world, we're in a lot more trouble than I thought we were.
Well, I've never met Emma, but Emma's inspired a movement, and it's good to have a movement that's led by somebody that's a part of our future. And so sometime I hope you'll bring Emma here so I can thank her for what she's done to inspire an awful lot of adults here in Washington to start acting like adults and looking out for her future, the future of a lot of children her age.
It's a deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.